we are starting our new unit on lines, points, line segments, rays, and angles. So today what we're going to do is just kind of look at definitions and look at how can we identify a line segment, how can we identify an angle, just by looking at a picture. So I'm going to put defining lines, points, line segments, etc. There's a few more, and then I'm on page 107. Okay, so I've already glued in my notes for the day, but I'm going to write my objective on top. So you can write your objective and then glue it in, or glue it in and then write your objective with me. So today I will identify lines, points, line segments, rays, and angles. Okay, so let's look at what all of those mean. So the first one that we have is a point. So I'm going to write point under name. So a point describes an exact location on a line and is usually labeled with a capital letter. So we have worked with number lines for a while, so we know what a point is. It is a point on a number line. So for example, let's just say we have a number line like this, and this would be considered a point on a line. So it is a line and it has a capital letter. So when we are notating it, we would write point and then whatever letter is that point. So if we just saw this, we would look at this and think, okay, it describes an exact location on a line and it's labeled with a capital letter. So this is what we call a point. Okay, our next one is a line. A line is a straight path formed through 2 points that goes on forever in both directions. So here, this is not a line because it does not have 2 points. To make it a line, it goes forever on this end and it goes forever on that end. That arrow means that it can continue. So to make it a line, you have to have 2 points on it. So we can have an A and a B, okay? And then we would write the notation as AB, and then on top we would draw the line. So a line has 2 points and it goes on forever on both ends. So this is line AB, okay? All right, our next one is a line segment. A line segment is a part of a line that ends at 2 endpoints. So unlike a line in general, it does not go on forever and it has 2 endpoints. So a line segment has 2 endpoints. So it would be A and B, and it does not go on forever. It has an A and a B, and there is 2 exact endpoints. So for this, I would just draw a line segment above, and then line segment AB. Okay, our next one is a ray. A ray is a part of a line that ends at 1 endpoint, so this is what we call an endpoint, and extends forever in the other direction. So a ray is kind of a mix between a line and a line segment. So a ray has 1 end that goes on forever with a point near it, and then it starts with a point. So it has 1 point that ends, and it has 1 point that goes on forever. So we call this a ray, and this is ray AB. Okay, and our last word for today is angle. An angle is a geometric shape formed by two lines with a shared endpoint as the vertex. So let's look at a few. So here we have a right angle. So the vertex is here. We have two lines that meet in a vertex. This is my vertex, okay? This is what we call an angle. And if we were to measure this, this would be a right angle. So you would have A, B, and C. So this would be angle A, B, C. Okay, so we have a right angle. And then it could also look like this. So it's still A, B, C, right? They still meet on B, and it is still angle ABC. But now this one is what we call an obtuse angle because it's bigger than a right, okay? So an angle has, it forms some sort of shape, and it has a shared endpoint as the vertex. So the shared endpoint here is B for both angles. Okay, so now we're going to use this to practice identifying out of these 5. Okay, so when we're looking at something, so whether we're looking at a line segment, a ray, an angle, a point, there's a few steps that we can go to ask ourselves to figure out which is which. So what we're going to do is determine whether there is one endpoint two endpoints or no endpoints. Okay, and then step 2 is identify the line type. Okay, 3 is label the line. And then 4 is to name it with correct notation. Okay, so I am going to give some examples and we will work on a couple together. So, example 1. We have this. Okay, first thing I have to do is determine whether there is one endpoint, two endpoints, or no endpoints. From this picture, there are no endpoints because this can go on forever and this can go on forever. So that tells me that it is a line just in general. So I'm going to put this is a line. And the next thing we want to do is label the line. So I'm going to do A, B, C. And then I'm going to write the math notation. So I'm going to write this is line AC. I'm not putting the B in it because I just need the two points on the end. And I'm putting a line on top. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say that we have this one. First thing I have to ask myself, does it have one endpoint, two endpoints, or no endpoint? This one has one endpoint, so that tells me that it is a ray because it has one endpoint, but it has another one that goes on forever. So this is a ray, and then we have to label it. So I'm going to do A and B, and then I'm going to write it. So I'm going to write A, there's only two, so I'm just going to do A and B, and then I'm going to draw my ray up top. Okay, all right, I'm going to give you one to label, actually two. So I want you to identify what this is. And I'll label it for you. And then I want you to tell me what this one is.